Today we're talking about nanotechnology, and I mean, when I hear that phrase, I automatically start thinking about sci-fi. Most people are going to hear that phrase and either have no idea what the hell you're talking about, or they're going to think that, you know, maybe you're a conspiracy theorist or something's crazy because, you know, the nanobots are being used to give us viruses and infect us, and probably the people at YouTube watching this are going to hear the word nanotechnology and think about a way they could strike the video, right? Because they're like, where can we find medical misinformation? Where can we find a statement? So I want to clarify right now, as we talk about this encroaching topic, that there are no medical claims being made on this show. Nothing here is health advice, and you should continue to get any health advice or medical expertise from your physician. What we're speaking about here is theoretical. What we're talking about may be very real to those who are saying it, but we encourage you to check the facts yourself and to also remember to do your own research. And that note, my name is Elijah Schaefer. I'm the host of Almost Serious. I have amazing guests on today, as well as my co-hosts, who I'll let them introduce themselves. Her name is Sarah Stock. Who are you, and why are you here?
Yeah, I'm Sarah, and I'm a journalist for Vigilant News as of very recently, but I've been doing journalism for about 2 years, and I'm also a college student.
Amazing. And we're here at CPAC in the DC studios if you guys want to know why we're here. And my wonderful guests, the stars of the show today. Sir, introduce yourself. Give us a background, because you guys are very talented, and you are quite the interesting group of fellows.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So my name is Michael Dillon. I'm the founder of airwaterhealing.com. Also the founder of Self Wellness, which is an alternative wellness center in Boynton Beach, Florida, where we proudly use things like sound, energy, light, frequency, and also chiropractic care to try to help the body get into a state where it is the most fine-tuned machine that you could ever have. You know, the great D.D. Palmer said that the power that made the body can heal the body, and we've really embodied that. And,
I like that.
Go ahead, Seth.
My name is Seth LEIBOWITZ, and I'm an artist, mostly tattoo artist, but I like to paint for fun, and usually painting the culture, bringing awareness through art. And I've been working with scientists, doctors that have been working with nanotechnology, and anywhere from working on HAARP, high frequency active auroral research project. The one doctor I've been working with, who recently passed away, Dr. Joseph Resnick, God rest his soul, cleaned up the Exxon Valdez oil spill with his technology. But I've spent the last 4 or 5 years not painting and looking under the barrel of a microscope and working with these doctors, doing research, gathering information, printing, and just trying to get the word out there to protect people. I have a daughter, and I care about her, and I care about other people's children and future of what it means.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about this. I want to leave today assuming that everybody who's watching this podcast right now has no idea why we're talking about nanotechnology and doesn't even know what nanotechnology is. I mean, you're probably in the same boat, right?
I don't know anything about nanotechnology.
So let's define the term. Let's talk about this. So what is nanotechnology?
Nanotechnology,
what is it?
It's a scale. It could be multiple different materials. So it could be anywhere from silver to gold to zeolite. And it's the size of the material itself is which is the dangerous part of it. So 1 nanometer is 1/80,000th of a width of a human hair. And on that size scale, it has a whole different set of physics on how it interacts with human tissue, water molecules, fungus, spores. And they are spraying this onto us. We're breathing it in. It's in our water. They're using it in our supplements. They're putting it in our foods. There's an article from Grist on December 3rd, 2012. Grist, nanoparticles in your food. You're already eating them. Think GMOs are bad? Try eating nanoparticles. They tell you about this in movies, in the latest James Bond movie. There's DNA targeted nano weaponry, or the G.I. Joe movie on their nanobots that can devour the Eiffel Tower. So they're getting it, slow leaking it to us in like predictive programming.
Not only is it predictive programming, but the one thing that I've always asked, and Elijah, I'll ask you this. If there is something that's filed patent-wise, right? If somebody files a patent, let's say that your father grew up and he was in the boating business, and one of his buddies had drowned, and he said, you know what? I'm going to come up with a patent for wearable clothes that as soon as it touches the water, it inflates. So if someone's accidentally knocked unconscious, would you agree that if he goes as far as to file that patent, that he has the intention to manufacture that product?
Yeah,
right?
of course. I mean, every engineer knows, the design is what's important, and you do it, and you design something for a purpose. So yeah.
So I start to understand that the more and more that we start looking into these geoengineering patents, and particularly what Seth is saying is the ability to spray nanotechnology. If you look into the patents that have been filed on spraying nanotechnology and how it can affect hormones, how it can affect your ability to reproduce, how it can affect crops, why would you spend all of this time and valuable time filing these patents if it was just going to be a conspiracy?
Okay, so this is what I'm confused about still. You mentioned a bunch of things. You're like, oh, nanotechnology can be this, it can be that. So we're talking about something that is potentially very dangerous, right? We're talking about something that's going to be used as a weapon, a nanotechnology weaponry. And when you say this though, what are we talking about? Because I think of nanotechnology, I'm thinking of like little robots, right? That's sort of what I'm thinking of. But you said it's like that's not exactly what's going on here.
Well, here's the thing. Technology is neutral, right? So, you have a hammer, you could either build a house or you could bash someone in the head with it, which I don't suggest. So the thing about nanotechnology, it could be used for good, but they are weaponizing it. I have a very good friend of mine, a scientist that I've been working for. I don't want to mention his name and out him here. Maybe in a future show or something, we could even have him on. But he holds 4 patents on nanomaterials, and it's now being weaponized against the planet and everything on this planet. We're breathing it in, we're eating it. It's in the material of our clothing, and even it can be used in computing systems, quantum computing systems and whatnot. So
I'm so glad that you brought up quantum computing, because an article, I had seen a podcast a couple months ago, and there was actually a government agency that was already talking about this, Elijah, and they were talking about smart dust,
yes.
right? And specifically, they had zoomed in, and like, imagine if you see like, you zoom in and you see like an iPhone, right? Now imagine going in and seeing 1/1,000,000th of the size of this iPhone, and then going in again. It's like one of those looping things that you see on YouTube where it's a never ending, it just keeps going and going and going. And they're saying that they can have these capacitors, these chips that are literally 1/1,000,000th the size of a grain of rice.
is that the Hitachi article?
Yes.
Yeah.
So and they were talking about if they were to aerosolize this, and this is military saying that they can do this to map the enemies. Right? They're talking about protecting, of course. This is like anti-terrorism. They're going to promote it like, this is great, we can get this technology. But what happens when they start saying that we're going to use this to be able to protect you? Well, what's the long-term effects of having nanotechnology? And obviously, we're going to try to offer solutions about how to deactivate it. But where does it stop if they start saying, well, this is the only way that we can prevent cancer? Or this is the only way that we can stop the spread of disease? Or what if they say, how many people are so scared about our children being sex trafficked? If we spray smart dust everywhere, we'll be able to map everybody at every time.
It's called nanotagging.
And
is what it is.
And it's for your protection.
Yeah. There's a NASA warfare document 2025 and by Dennis M. Bushnell from NASA.
Good article.
And I think slide 43, it is mechanical to analog aerosolized dust that can mechanically bore into the lung tissue to carry out various pathological missions. And at the very end, it says a wholly new class of weaponry, which is legal. So there's no legal ramifications for this material being sprayed onto the public. And you talk about it and you're labeled a conspiracy theorist, but if they can talk about it, why can't we talk about it? Why can't we bring this to light? Why
So
can't we?
who do you think is behind this? I mean, is this like the deep state? Is it, like
The deep state.
what's the
interested in this? That's a good
incentive? Is it a
question.
financial incentive? Is it to control us? What do you think?
Well, I'm glad that you brought up the financial, and I'm going to let Seth answer that in detail, but you brought up the financial aspect, and
Yeah.
that's very good, right? So everybody at this table, this is an open dialogue, right? And I speak by faith, right? Jesus will judge me. Jesus is the only person that will judge me. I will ask all 3 of you sitting here with me, have you heard the term geoengineering?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
of
you've heard the term geoengineering.
Yeah.
Correct.
I follow a very popular forensic accountant online, and he follows a lot of geoengineering, all types of activity that are laced or traced back to money. He had reported that the USAID had stopped funding to the state of Florida specifically for geoengineering. And I said, okay, right. Heard it all before, right? We heard it. Whether this was Doge or it was an investigation, the very next day I went outside, crystal clear blue from coast to coast in Florida for 5 days in a row. had not seen one tic-tac-toe, not one X. Anybody who follows that knows what it is. So obviously where you're digging is going down the right rabbit hole is where do you follow the money? Who's behind it? And if it's as nefarious, elaborate a little bit further for us. Seth.
I feel it's the people that are printing the money. You know, the people that are the Kingmakers, I don't know if I can say these family names.
No, it's fine, Sam.
Like what is it? The Orsini families. You know, like these are the
That's
people
where Christopher Columbus came from.
These are the people that control Klaus Schwab. You know, Klaus Schwab is just this ugly puppet. You know, Bill Gates is just an ugly puppet. You know, the face that you want to punch. So these are the people that are, you know, making the policies and passing it on to these people you want to be the face to hate. Do you know what I mean? So these are the people that are in the shadows.